Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this channel, the Inner Love Trauma. So, today our topic is actually going to be about narcissistic parents and church leaders and how they actually abuse you with the religion that they actually teach you. So, I grew up in a very strict household where we actually went to church on every time the door was open. Wednesday, um, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, and sometimes on Saturdays. And so we were very much in a very, I guess, strict upbringing is what people like to say all the time. I was a strict upbringing. But a lot of times, this is where the abuse actually happens. It's the scriptures that are used against you to make you believe that you need to obey regardless. Okay. So, how many of you have actually heard the scripture, children, honor your mother and father, or your days will be long, so that your days will be long upon this earth? Well, I used to hear that quite a bit. I heard it in church, I heard it outside of church, and I heard it every time I got ready to do something. So this is a scripture that is used to keep children in line, or to keep even adult children in line, adults in line. So I've even heard parents use this on their adult child. Nothing is going to come good to you, if you don't do as I say. Okay. So yes, I believe, and this is just basically based upon my experience, is that Christianity and Christians sometimes are always abused by narcissists. In fact, I know that narcissists actually seek Christian people out. Or if you have a strong Christian value, or if you've been in church, or you are a person that just have good values that you were taught. Now, it begins in your household, and sometimes it trickles on to the church, where the church is actually physically, well, not physically, but mentally abusing you. Now, a lot of people don't want to talk about the mental abuse that comes along with being in church. They don't want to talk about the church leaders as they actually abuse you emotionally. A lot of times it's to abuse you to get money out of you, but it's also to keep you in check. Okay. Now, our parents use that scripture, and I hear a lot of other pastors, they use the scripture, where man rob God scripture. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through all the different scriptures that they actually use, but just understand this, that this is one of those two areas, at home and at church, is where the narcissistic abuse actually usually begin. Sometimes it starts with your parents holding this over your head. Now, I talk to a lot of people who were raised in a Christian home, and they have a narcissistic parent. Okay. And that parent actually held the Bible, all the Christian values, over that person's head so much that they were really terrified about everything. Okay. When they hold over your head that you may go to hell, or that you may miss the rapture. What if Jesus comes when you're doing something, he comes like a thief in the night? Well, these are some of the things that they tell us, and as we grow up, it just puts a lot of fear in that child's heart. Not only that, you're being controlled by your parents and by the church leaders a lot of times, by holding those scriptures and things over your head. Now, am I saying that Christian values aren't good? No, Christian values are good to a certain extent, until you're abused with it. Like with anything, if water is good, but if you put my head under the water for a certain amount of time, I might drown. Okay. So it's just the same thing. Just because something is good and it's a good value behind it, doesn't mean that it's been used in the correct and positive way. Now, from my experience, this is where the narcissistic abuse actually starts to happen. It starts at home, is reinforced sometimes with the church leaders. Now, a lot of people will wonder, well, why is this person? They came from a household where they went to church every day or every Sunday, and they had church leaders there, but this person is depressed. This person has a mental illness. This person doesn't feel good about themselves. This person has low self-esteem. Well, the reason is because both those areas is where that person is sometimes abused. So I'm actually putting together a wonderful program that's going to help you and others to actually be able to heal and recover from this. I have a course that's called Outsmarting the Narcissist. You can start your course at least by September is when I'll have a full course completed, but you can buy it ahead of time if you like. Now, so these are some of the things that I found. I found that when I met narcissists in the past, they were very well versed in the Bible. Okay, when they say that the devil knows the Bible, I say the narcissist knows the Bible too. Okay, some of the verses that they love to use is the one that I just mentioned. Honor your mother and father. Then sometimes we marry a narcissist, and of course, they use the Bible once again to keep that wife in check. Okay. Now, to them, the Bible doesn't mean anything, neither does God or any of those things. But what does mean something to them is keeping you in check. Now, if you clearly listen to some of the narcissistic people that try to use the Bible, you'll notice that they don't always have the full truth because they can't even tell the truth when it comes down to the Bible. Even when it's written there in front of your face, they will find a way to actually lie about what they're actually looking at. Because remember, they don't hold themselves accountable, and they're definitely not going to hold what you see in the Bible accountable, if only if it's going to benefit them. So I'm doing this video because I want you to be aware that you didn't just happen upon a narcissistic person. You were born and raised into this. You were taught to be in a narcissistic relationship. And what you have to do now is unwash your brain and reteach yourself. You have to reparent yourself. And I have another course that I'm doing that's going to be about you reparenting yourself. Because the whole thing about this channel and the videos that I do here is going to be all about recovering from these type of abuse. You have narcissistic parents, then there's a whole lot of recovery that you have to do. And if you went to church or you were in you have a religious background, whether it's Christianity or any other, Christianity is like the biggest one, but there's other religions that actually, teach you the same values, and are you're being abused by those. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Now, how would you know if you were in a situation like this? Well, number one, are you fearful? Are you always fearful about either do you have trouble going to sleep? Fearful about the world ending? Do you feel like if do you have a lot of guilt when it comes down to anything like sex? If you're guilty about having sex, that's a telltale sign. So, one, you're fearful about life. You're fearful about dying. You're fearful about is the world going to end? Two, you're probably going to be feeling a little you're going to feel guilty about everything. Like if you tell somebody or stand up for yourself, do you feel guilty about it? Well, these are two very distinctive reasons why you know that if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll find out that it's because you were taught this at home and also at church. Okay. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper. I know that this is a hard subject for a lot of people because they still hold very dear to the things that they were taught. Again, I am not saying that Christianity is have bad teachings. I'm saying that people have abused you with those teachings. They have abused you, made you a people pleaser. That's number three. Are you a people pleaser? Do you are you addicted to having approval from other people? Well, that's what this actually shows you. Number four would be, do you have a hard time standing up for yourself? Do you feel bad when you do try to stand up for yourself? Well, a lot of the Christian values that are abused with you is tells you to turn the other cheek and not ask questions and all those other things. Now, even though we have a lot of scriptures that back up the fact that you know to do some of these things, they were still abused. There was still abuse put behind it. It was emotional abuse, sometimes physical abuse, and this is what we have dealt with all our lives. Now, a lot of you don't even go to church, or you're probably more spiritual than you are religious now, and this is because you've had some experiences in that church, so to speak, right? So that's what we're going to be talking a little bit more about. I know I can't go through everything on one video, but I just wanted to kind of open this door up a little bit so that we are able to talk about some of these things. So you will see videos after videos with me talking a little bit more in depth about this. Now, if you have your own story, please in the chat or in the um, description below, please talk about it, because when you talk about it, it lets somebody else know that they are not alone. So I want to thank you so much for listening, and I will be back with another video. Thank you. Have a great day.